Okay. Oh, wow. Hello, everyone. Oh, I see we've got some people already who joined. Hello. So, it's a huge mess, which I need you to ignore because we are in the guest room basically at my parents' and we're living out of a suitcase, and that's Carlos right there. Hello, say hello. Now you have to wave. Hello. Hi, everyone. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a wonderful, what is it, Saturday? Hello, Andromeda. Welcome. Thank you for being here. I'm just going to post this on my story really quickly, being like, oh, I'm live. Hi, Ella. Hi, Carlos. Carlos. So he has a Latvian name, so it's Karlis. So it's a bit of a weirder spelling, let's say, like a very different spelling. I feel like don't worry though, everyone always says Carlos. But yeah. So I'm just gonna what's the best oh hello! Hello Leah, how you doing? I'm just gonna put you as a mod. Thank you very much. Um standard mod. You're gonna be a standard mod. Thank you, Leah. Cool. Oh, lol, sorry. No, don't worry about it. I know most people every time I say it as well, people probably think like Carlis. What kind of a name? Oh yay, okay. So let me just post this on my story. Wow. I feel like I need to do my lashes again. Also, I hope the internet's gonna stay fine. We are live on YouTube. Okay, cool. Hello, Ella. Hello, Carpo. How are you doing? Alrighty. So I'm not really sure how long this is going to be for. Namaste from India. Thank you. Blessings to you from Poland. The Wi-Fi here is awful, so I hope that it's working okay. If anyone could please let me know if the audio is okay and if the quality looks okay. Because yeah, Wi-Fi is an issue. This house here is still being built. And also, if I look like a sweaty mess, it's because I am a sweaty mess. So the audio and quality looks good on my end. Perfect. Thank you. All right. So I don't really usually do YouTube lives, so I don't have any plan. Oh my God, you were the first person who introduced me to witchcraft. No way! Oh my gosh. Okay. I always feel like that's the most insane thing when I hear, because like I've heard like people say that like that, for example, always blows my mind. I'm always like, "Oh my god." Also, I feel like my eyes okay, that was gross, I'm sorry. But we were at the mall today and, like, all day because the hairdresser took so long. Can I ask a question? Of course, please ask questions. That's a good point. Please ask questions, because otherwise I don't even know what I'm talking about. But yes, eyes are so red, like, especially this one is so red because I was just like, "Oh my god." Have you visited the I need good recommendations. So if you're in Poland, so I'm in the Stettin. I'm so sorry. I'm really bad with the pronunciations. I have a hard time with doing the sh sounds. Um, so Balo, hold on. Balowieża Forest. Let's see how far that is. National Park in Poland. But how far are you? What is something new you're exploring in your craft? Oh, I like that question. Something new that I'm exploring in my craft is, I guess, the poison plants would probably be the most recent one in terms of um, what I'm like truly, really trying to incorporate more into my craft. So, as you can see, I've got a few plants over here. I did start this like I think 2 months ago, if not a little bit earlier. I started doing more, and I've started doing like ointments and stuff already in New Zealand, but it was a little bit more um, just general, let's say, whereas this is like really what I'm getting into more. Um, and then also I'm trying to do meditation. Um, yeah. Um, okay, so Carpo, I see you messaging. So usually all caps is like screaming, so I just wanna let you kindly know that, it might be coming across like a little bit much, for some people that are reading it, so not to, like, put you down or anything like that, like, I don't wanna be, like, disrespectful, but I'm just letting you know. How to banish someone like a stalker or someone trying to cause you harm once and for all. To be honest with you, I feel like if it's a stalker situation, that is best dealt with a police or the authorities that you would go to for something like that. I wouldn't suggest to do spells for that. If at all, then maybe some like protective. You can do some protective like sigils and some like basic protection, but if you're dealing with a stalker, that is quite severe, and then I would say don't do witchcraft, go to the authorities. Yeah, exactly, like what Leah is saying, like, best to deal with that mundanely first before magical workings. Yes, exactly. Like, magic can be like a cherry on top, or it can be to help you with your own sort of mental space and things like that, but for something like that, authorities is probably better. Sorry for that, I just wanted my comment to stand out. No, no, that's fine. I see all your comments and stuff, and if it is, I'll always, like, scroll back and I'll go through all of them. Blessings, Ella. Thank you, and to you. Um, I'm a divination witch, but leaning more towards doing tinctures, self serifs, and kitchen witchery as well. Yeah, I wonder if that's kind of a thing at the moment because I feel like I see it more and more at the moment too. So I feel like, you know, maybe it's something that's kind of just like going on at the moment. Oh, so I just typed in the Białowiesza. Okay, I'm gonna try and pronounce this. Białowiesza forest. It's almost 10 hours away from me. So it's like the opposite end. Oh, it's right on the border with Belarus. Yeah, it's like on the opposite end of like I'm like completely the other way. So I'm probably not gonna be able to go there, unfortunately. Um, maybe at some point, but definitely not in this time. Um, no, he's an online stalker. Yeah, I still think authorities is probably better for that. Again, I do have, if you have, for example, if you have my book, for example, or just any other protection spells, I do have a protection like playlist, and I also have a couple of protective things that you can see in my recent videos. You can do that on top of that, but just because this is so close to legal advice. I'm not someone that can give you legal advice. So all I can tell you is to go to the authorities. And then if you, on top of doing that, want to do spell work, I would suggest, for example, um, like some charm or some maybe like a witch bottle for specifically that. I in my phone case have a rune that I've written into the phone case. Like you can't see it now, but I have sigils inside my phone case because it's specifically for like anything to do with my digital space, my digital protection. You can do something like that, for example, just as a cherry on top, just so that's clear. um, do you feel like your craft is helping you become more intuitive in your life, and what tips do you have for developing psychic abilities? So I've always felt like I was really lucky in that regard because I always feel like people are naturally intuitive, and then only because of society and because of how society works that you kind of lose it over time because people are just like if you're a child, for example, and you have an imaginary friend, which I did. Most kids have that, right? You just make stuff up in your mind, or like, well, you make stuff up in your mind. You tend to have a lot of creativity and a lot of intuition as a child, as is, generally speaking. Obviously, I'm just generalizing here. And I was very lucky because my family is very witchy and is very spiritual, and they've always done like my grandma and my mom when they were younger, they already did Ouija board sessions, and like they've always done tarot and things like that. And my grandma used to have a tea shop, and my great grandma was a midwife, so it's always been kind of in the family for us. Where I think I was lucky in that it never got trained out of me. So I don't necessarily feel like my witchcraft practice, it's not new to me enough to where I can say I remember how it was before, because that's always like I've practiced witchcraft since I'm 11. And so it's always just been like in my life. However, I could answer, this is a huge ramble, I'm sorry. I could answer on how to develop your psychic abilities. So, first of all, meditation. Now, meditation is a tricky one for some people. I have aphantasia specifically when I meditate. So active meditation is what I can really highly suggest. So you could either listen to, or what you can also do is listen to really nicely done meditations where you have like background effects. Um, my girl Leah over here, I'm not sure if I'm like allowed to promote it yet or not, but like you enter your little comment over there if you want to. Um, so I won't say anything more, but I really like painting and I really like for example walking in the forest just by myself where I'm able to like have a meditation kind of state, and then I just kind of like to think of like expanding your field of vision and your energy field and practice that way. There are certain books, Psychic Witch, for example, I've done a review on that book on my channel that really help you. They do, it's a very exercise heavy book, and that gives you an idea for exercises you can do too. I'm just scrolling back here. Um, I don't want to get involved in legal action. See, I feel like, okay, legal action taken first. I think, as I already mentioned, have a look at my protection playlist if that's something that you might be interested in. I love that Rebecca Woodland. I actually just crafted my first tincture this morning. I have some oils infused for selves. I have, okay, so I still have my elderberry syrup. Elderflower syrup. It's still in the kitchen. I have to put it over. I have to strain it and put it over to my bottles. But I've got that going at the moment. And elderflower is so amazing. I love elderflowers. It's one of those plants that's very symbolic and very important to me because I work with the goddess Holda, who's associated with the elderflowers. Also made a lavender salve for my daughter-in-law for anxiety. Oh, I love that. I feel like a lavender salve would be so lovely. I wanna buy a big lavender when we move, just so that I can do like lavender pillows, cushions, you know those, and then definitely salves as well. Um, Do runes in old and phone case work for you? What symbols do you use? I just use Algi's, which is the protection rune, but you can use any rune that works for you. I have a rune list in my book in case you want to look that up, or you can also have a look just online, for example, for like rune meanings, and then just see whatever works for you. Or you can make your own sigils too. I'm looking to get in touch again with my spiritual side. I was wondering if joining a coven patron will help me with that. I lost my touch a few years back. I feel you. I think that's just sometimes is one of those situations where it like ebbs and flows, and sometimes you'll be more connected, and sometimes just because of life, like work, children, animals, whatever. There's just, I mean, COVID, right? Can I say that on here? Is YouTube gonna kick me out? The panini. It just unfortunately sometimes we just go through those phases. I do have a Patreon where we do like monthly workshops, which are really fun. It's in the Wolpertinger. Oh God, Wolpertinger. I just felt like, do you know that moment when you talk English and then you say a different word that's from another language? It's always awkward. Anyway, it's in that tier where we do, for example, workshops and things like that. So that could be something that you might be interested in. A coven could definitely be good too for you. It just depends where you are and if you have a coven near you. So Leah did post it. So if you want to have a look, the Redheaded Witch is Leah. She has a YouTube channel. Definitely highly recommend. And she just posted the most amazing, could you call it like an active meditation? And like, it's just really beautifully done. I really love it. Highly recommend. What's your opinion on working with bones and animal spirits through their remains? I'm new to your channel and I really love your folksy content. Thank you. I love working with bones and animal spirits. I feel like there's a lot that goes into that. I know Olivia, so the Witch of Wonderlust, has amazing content on that too, so highly recommend for that. I want to get into that kind of content a bit more. I've done a few things here and there on my Patreon. I'm always a little bit shy with specifically that type of thing because on a public platform such as Instagram and YouTube, I'm always like, oh, but I do have some of that on my Patreon already. I think that it's a really, really great way to be working with spirit that is like local, for example. So what I can only say and recommend really truly is working with the animal bones and spirits that are like around you. So for example, the bones that I have are exclusively from where I either have lived or currently live. So I usually tend to find them in the forest, and that's where I'm almost already kind of like, okay, I found them because, I feel like there's already like it's a little bit of a, oh, I stumbled upon them, so that's already a little bit of a breadcrumb to be working with that spirit. However, I still recommend, even when you do find animal remains or bones and things like that, that you still go through the process of like, hi, would you like me to, let you stay here, or would you like to come home with me? Um, I feel like I prefer doing that. Obviously, whatever floats your boat, if that's something that you are more keen on. If you don't have, for example, the availability, like if you don't live near a forest where you would have bones lying around, things like that, that's an idea. Now, I actually have my two dogs and also my previous dog that I used to have. I have her fur, and then I have my two dogs that are still very much like happy. They just had their teeth cleaned, and they had their teeth, some of the teeth were pulled. And so they're currently in the freezer because I just had to buy hydrogen peroxide to like properly clean them. But I obviously am planning on keeping those forever for the specific purpose of one day being able to work with their spirit. My daughter, oh, let me just scroll back. My daughter had a, ooh, so Jennifer, unfortunately, I don't want to speak on that. I'm really, really sorry. That is absolutely heart-shattering, scary, and I wish you all the best. But I don't think a spell in this case is at all appropriate, and I don't feel comfortable talking about that. I'm really sorry. I just started a new series on my channel called Witchcraft Fables, where I specifically create immersive guided meditation specifically for witches. Yes, thank you for. I feel like I was just like, how do I even explain this? It's really, really amazing though. But yes, perfect. So it's a really cool series, and I really recommend it. Thank you. You're welcome. What would be your advice when starting working with poisonous plants? Do they need a special approach when even touching some could be a bit dangerous? Yes, definitely. So I want to do a book list of books that I really love. I just finished oh gosh, what is it called? The Poison Path Herbal. Kobe Michael, I think, is the author. I'm gonna quickly Google check and confirm that. That was an amazing book for an introduction to it. I think it was already quite like a good one, I think, because it had a really good approach of talking about poisonous plants and the crooked path and things like that, talking about the folklore of the different plants, and then also how to already work with them. So if you want to, for example, it also had like a how to grow them at the end, and like what the best conditions are for each plant to grow them. And it also had a scientific or biological side of approach where it was like, okay, so these are the alkaloids, and like this is the effect, and like these are the microdoses that like are, like it's a very, I felt like I'm back in biology class, but I was actually interested in it, so I was paying attention. So that's a really, really good book that I can recommend. And then anything, honestly, by Corinne Boyer. So The Plants of the Devil, love that book. And I think the trick with poisonous or working with poisonous plants is to actually start reading before you actually get into it, usually with spells and all that stuff, witchcraft. I always tend to say, just do it, just go for it. But I feel like with poisonous plants, it's one of those where, because it's a dangerous enough of a topic, you, I think, need to have a bit of a basic foundation before you tread something that is a little potentially dangerous, or it is dangerous if you are not careful enough, right? So definitely would say get yourself a couple of books. I'm currently reading Beneficium. I don't know how to pronounce that. The Poison Path Herbal. I'm pretty sure was the other book. Yes, The Poison Path Herbal. That is how the book looks. Can you see that? That's how the book looks. Really, really recommend. And then the other one that I'm currently reading is this book by Daniel Schulke. That's a German name. I'm not sure if he is German though. That's the one I'm reading right now. That one's advanced though. So I wouldn't recommend this one when you're starting out. Um, and then, alrighty. What does working with a deity mean to you? Oh, I like that question. Okay, so for me, working with a deity is I'm more of a worshiper. So I feel like I take it more in an approach where I first of all see my deity in like just nature. So for me, it's a living deity where I feel like the thunder or the rain or um, the wind and things like that, because of my deities being very closely tied to nature. The nature path essentially. For me, it means connecting to nature and connecting to myself through nature and seeing myself as part of nature rather than something that's removed and something that is above nature, for example, which I think since the Industrial Revolution has really started separating humans from nature. And so I see my gods and my deity work in reconnecting with that side a lot. Um, and then I think for me personally, it's in the things that, like the little things that I do every day, and it's just the mindset. So for me, I feel like it's just the habits that you create and the habits that you do throughout your day. It's the morals that you have. So for me, it's one of those things that it's woven really intricately into my life, and I don't think I could remove my deities. I know so my fiance and I love chatting about just random stuff. That like thought experiments. And one of the ones that he recently asked me was, if you had proof that, for example, Jesus existed, like definitely existed, would you still continue being like believing in my gods? Because you have proof that this one exists. And I was like, yeah, I would probably still stay pagan because I feel like it's just so interwoven in my life. It's in the fabric of who I am at this point that I feel like there's no amount of proof that I just believe in so strongly. So I don't know if that explained anything at all, or if that was just me going on a ramble. But I love that question. I'm gonna have to write that one down and think about it more and journal about it more. I want to get more in touch with my native plants. What are some different ways I can introduce myself to them and start a relationship? Oh, I love that. I always think it's a really, really good idea to connect with your like local plants and native plants, especially, of course. So I would say get to know them by actually just looking at them, like going outside. And I know this sounds like kind of obvious, but just interact with them in the sense of like that you actually get to know the plant. Like, how does it look like? What are the petals like? How's the growth of it? Is it a perennial? What's the habitat like? What does it like? Does it like sunshine? Does it like more cloudiness? Is it a toxic or is it poisonous or anything like that? And then I guess I would say read about it as much as you can. I feel like that's a good tip for anything. So if you're working with deities, if you're working with plants, if you're working with animal spirits, is to read about them and to get to know them and to get to know them and like inform yourself about them. And then the next one that I would definitely say is just sit in meditation with them and introduce yourself in meditation, where you would be like, "Hi, my name is Ella. I would really love to foster a relationship. Is there a sign that you could give me that I understand clearly?" And I always feel like that's important to say, give me a sign that I understand clearly. That's what I do with spirit work in general. Uh, and then see what you feel, and like your intuition will or you kind of get a feeling. For some, it's going to be more physical. I have very physical signs. So if I'm asking my plant, for example, which I did just recently, I had my henbane, which is sitting right up there. I'm going to turn the TV. This one here, TV, laptop. And she wasn't doing so great because I don't know. I was like, why are you not doing great? And so I sat in meditation with my plant and I was like, why are you not doing great? And all of a sudden I had the most interesting incredible sensation. I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. My throat almost felt like someone was squeezing it, but not in a scary way where it's like, oh my God, what's happening? Like, that's terrifying. It was very mild, like, it was not scary. It wasn't something that was intrusive or dangerous or felt aggressive at all. It was just kind of like, I'm feeling claustrophobic. I'm feeling a little drowned, is what I got from that plant. And so I repotted her yesterday into a bigger plant pot, and I also held off on water. So I'm not watering that much anymore. And she's immediately doing better. Like, she flowered literally the day after I had that meditation. I hadn't even repotted her yet, and she started flowering again. And there were no flowers; they were dried up. And suddenly there was flowers again. And so something like that can, I think, be a really, really great way to just get in touch with them, just talk to them. In general, I love talking to plants too. I'm like, hey, good morning, how you doing? You know, and things like that. Introduce yourself as you would to a person. And I feel like sometimes we think of these spirits being super paranormal, but I think if you get more like casual with them in a way, you know, that's a good way to foster a relationship, in my opinion. It depends on the plant. Some plants want like massive amounts of respect, but I feel like, you know, depends on the plant. Um, oh Lord, hold on. I'm in the US. Can I join your Patreon? Of course, yes, yes. So my Patreon is international. You can join it from, I'm pretty sure, anywhere in the world. I don't think that there is any restrictions on country. So yeah, definitely. It's like an immersive meditation, like a story. Yes, exactly. So I feel like with meditation, storytelling is a really, really wonderful way to also be able to connect a little bit more. That's one thing that I did for my plant meditation as well, is I try to think of like a story of, okay, I'm walking in a forest, and then there's this big tree, and I walk towards that tree, and then I see the roots, and there's like a cave, and I walk through the cave, and then that's how I approach my plant spirits. Like, that's the tunnel that I go through to then see them. I don't know, that just works for me. Have you connected with spirit guides? How was your experience? How to ask them for help? Yes, so first of all, my plants, of course. And then also, I've always had the very feminine sort of energy around me that I just always would call the goddess. And so now I have a name for that energy, but I just very much direct my thoughts towards it. So I'm very much just like, oh gosh, you know, I'm really feeling overwhelmed right now. Please be with me in this time, and something like that. I also really like spirit contracts. So I like to say, please let this work out for me. I'll give you an offering of milk and honey in exchange. I really like that. That seems to work really well for me as well. Haven't you done some work with Bex from the Witch's Cookery? Yes, I love Bex. Okay, I adore Bex. So if you don't know Bex, the Witch's Cookery, go check out her channel. She's amazing. She's also German, also in Bavaria. So I'm gonna have to hit her up and be like, hi, do you want to meet up? But we did have one, I think it was only one YouTube video where, I think it was one, where she like did an interview style video. That was really fun, so you can go check that out. And then you might have just seen us interact on like Instagram, for example, because, and on like YouTube comments, because I really, you know, like love her energy. Which Olivia says, hello, Ella. Hello! How do you know who your spirit guides and spirit animals are? I feel like this is a topic for a YouTube video, and it's a really interesting one too. I think you get a hunch to a certain degree. I also think that can change over time. So I feel like, especially looking back, there were certain animals that I feel like I was more connected with a few years ago, whereas now I might feel more connected to a different type of animal, for example. So they do definitely can change, and I think they represent the life stage that you find yourself in, for example. So if you're looking for inspiration and you're going, you know, back to school, for example, you might find yourself being more connected to either the serpent or an owl or some kind of animal that traditionally would be associated with things like that. Whereas if, you know, if you are maybe, oh gosh, what else could there be for an example? There's so many examples, right? but I feel like that's definitely something that just comes to a certain degree naturally. However, you could most definitely do like a meditation, guided meditations. I know that there's a ton of guided meditations on like YouTube, for example, that you could give a go and try those out and see what comes of it. You might have something pop up, you might not. I feel like sometimes they also require a little bit. I feel like some spirits like to see effort and they like to be like, I'm a little hard to get. So they like to see a little hard, effort. So I think sometimes if a meditation doesn't work out the first time, try 2, 3, 4, 5 times, just so that you can be like, I'm serious. I really want to like get to know you. And it's not just like, oh, I feel like getting, you know what I mean? So I feel like that can definitely help too. Hi, Alyssa. Nice to see you live. Greetings from Australia. My aunt is in Brisbane, and I really want to have a look if we can visit her. Maybe like in a year or two. But yeah, my cousins are Aussie, and I always see their stories. And I'm like, though I don't do well with the heat. I'm like not doing well with the heat, and it's not that hot. It's like 25 degrees in Celsius. Don't ask me what that is in American. It's hot for me. Hey, do you have any tips on how to do Wicca in your everyday life? I have an entire Wicca series. So I have a Wicca 101 series on my YouTube channel. So I recommend you check that out. But yeah, I think the biggest tip, and I love this one book especially from Thorn Mooney, is Traditional Wicca. I definitely recommend you read that because it's a more modern book, and a lot of our Wicca books are really old and a little outdated. So that was still kind of the time when Wicca equaled witchcraft, and we don't see that anymore now. Now Wicca is very much its own like thing. So Thorn Mooney has a really great book. And then I have my YouTube my YouTube playlist. That's the word I was looking for. What do you think about ceremonial magic? Do you incorporate any ceremonial magic practice into your folk magic? I always feel like there's always going to be a certain blending. I feel like it's those two circles where you have folk magic or like low magic, high magic, which is folk magic, ceremonial magic, but you're always going to have a little bit of overlap. That's just the nature of witchcraft. Also, the quality is progressively getting worse because it's getting dark outside. But yes, I do incorporate some ceremonial magic practices. So I like to, you can call it treading the mill, walking the compass round, or casting a circle. I tend to still call it casting a circle because I do come from a Wiccan background. So when I do a bigger ritual, I still will do that. I love the grounding and centering practices that I learned from Wicca. They're not exclusive to Wicca, but Wicca is a ceremonial religion. So I like doing that, which again, you do find in most religions, to be honest, you find some sort of form of like grounding yourself, right? And then I do have a couple of tools that are ceremonial. So I have an athame that I still use. I have a chalice that I still like to use. And then I guess just little things here and there that would be ceremonial in nature. So certain squares, for example, are ceremonial in nature, or what else? Certain sigils might be more ceremonial in nature as well. I get upset that our deities are known as mythology. They were and are very real. I agree. I had the funniest. Okay, this is a little bit of a hot take, and I don't want to offend anyone, but sometimes I get really frustrating comments from certain religious people on my YouTube, and so I don't remember exactly what the comments were, but someone asked me if I don't believe in, and I don't want to like. Well, I guess I could. I guess it matters not. There was a Christian comment, and they were asking me if I don't believe in God and angels and things at all, in a little bit of an aggressive tone, because they're on my witchcraft channel, right? And they were quite intrusive, and so I replied saying, "No, I don't believe in the Christian mythology." And they blew up at me. They were like the comments that I got from that, but I had my little giggle, I will say. But yeah. I love your answer. Your response makes a lot of sense to me when what I've been told, and I have new things to think about. Thank you very much. I'm really glad that that resonated with you. Your plants have been growing so much. Insane. Hold on a second. So hold on, do you even see that? That's my hand. So they've been going crazy. Um, yeah, they've been growing really, really well. I love it. Great. Thank you. I'm glad. I actually think you're really brave and gutsy to grow poisonous plants yourself at home. Thank you. Yeah, I think there's a lot to it where it's a lot of caution and it's like understanding to like I always if I ever touch them by accident, I wash my hands immediately. I always have them next to the window, which is open, like it's constantly um you know how in Europe we have windows that you don't have to open like this, but you can open them like that, tilted, I guess? So they're constantly tilted so that there's airflow. And then I do a lot of reading because I do take it very seriously. And I think it's not for someone to just dabble in. So I think it's very serious. And you need to take it very seriously because it's such a risky thing, right? But yeah, they have their own personalities, yes. Exactly. Not really the top. Oh, hold on, I missed the comment. Not really the topic, but we used to chat a few months ago since we are both in Riga. Oh, I remember. Yes, used to be in our life sale chats. I remember. Yeah, we have to. I don't know yet when we're reopening our shop. By the way, that's a little off topic. Because we're still in Poland, obviously, and I'm assuming we're gonna be in Bavaria in like July. And then we have to settle in and we have to do the entire like furnishing and painting and and then like registering of the business. So it might only be like September. But yeah. Mm. Hey, do you have any tips on how to be more spiritual in your everyday life? I think it's a mindset thing. I feel like if you start looking and like shifting your perspective a little bit to think that magic is not supernatural, because I think when we think about spirituality or magic we see it as like removed and supernatural, whereas for me I feel like, and I think a lot of people will agree with me on this that are practicing witchcraft for a long time as well, it's in every little thing. So for example, the example that I'm currently thinking about, because it's currently something that I'm like researching, is birth. And I find birth, for example, to be such a magical process. Like, just because we scientifically understand what's going on doesn't take away from how magical it is. Or, for example, plants. Like, I had seeds this big 2, 3 months ago, and now they're plants this huge. Like, that is magical. Like, just because, we understand the science behind it doesn't necessarily mean it's not any more magical. The fact that we're on a spinning ball in a endless do we even know what it really is, with a fireball and like another little planet, not planet, a little moon that's changing the water every month, and how that moves. I feel like that's very magical. And so I think if you shift your perspective to seeing the magic in the mundane, I think that's a really great way to live a more magical life every day. 25 degrees is 77 Fahrenheit. Thank you. Completely agree. I find most personal energies are cyclical and come back around, especially with guides. Definitely agree. Thanks for answering my curiosity question. How about not annoying? No worries. No one's. In German, we have a saying that there are no dumb questions, only dumb answers. And I always think curiosity is like the only way that you can learn, so never apologize. I'm just excited to see you. Thank you. Your short started getting recommended on my feed. I might as well buy your book. Oh, thank you. Shorts are funny to me. I always forget that they exist because I predominantly do like Instagram Reels, obviously. So Instagram is my other main platform. And right now it's 35 degrees Celsius. No. Oh, that's too much for me. See, used to Latvian weather, which is now, and I'm okay with. So, for example, I was in Greece last year, and it's okay in Greece because you've got the ocean, and if you're hot, you just go into the ocean. But it's just in Poland right now where we live, it's just too hot, and it's like swampland too. Like we have like swamp like close to us. There's mosquitoes. I'm just like, it's like it's so funny when we talk about like connecting to nature and things like that, and it's like, yeah, but mosquitoes. Like you go into the forest and there's mosquitoes everywhere. So it's always like a little bit like, oh. But I actually want to create a body lotion or cream, let's say, using lavender and peppermint because it's a natural mosquito repellent. And so I want to see if I can do that. Have like a natural product, you know? It's not available in my place in India, but I'll try to source it. By the way, I subscribe to your channel too. Oh, I love that. So as for the book, I'm not sure with international. I know that Book Depository, bookdepository.com, they do international shipping and they have my book. And so I would believe that they ship to India as well. I love that you're going to be settled around the holidays. What a magical time to get settled into your new home. I know, I'm so excited, especially because it's going to just be so like cozy autumn, and it's just, I love autumn. I'm an autumn gal. So I'm really excited for that. I believe it's 25, 26 where I am too in the UK. It's been so hot and everyone's experiencing forest fires, and it's absolutely tragic. And but it's been too hot. It's such a hot summer. Do you have any pets? Yes, I do. I have 2 dogs, and then we as a family, so my parents basically, they have 2 dogs as well, and then my sister has 1 dog, and they all live in the same house. And then we also have 2 horses. So, but they're more my parents than my sister. So I just go visit and give them carrots and like cuddle. If so, how do you keep them away from the poisonous plants you grow at home? I want to start doing that, but I want to get a cat and I'm worried it might eat the poisonous plant. Yeah, we actually have a cat as well. Did I mention that? I probably didn't. His name is Mowgli. Super cute guy. He just doesn't bother. It depends from cat to cat. Again, my puppers, they don't touch them. Also, because I keep the poisonous. So I have a tray down here. Hold on, I can show you. Well, you're not gonna see much. I have a tray down there, and I need to turn on the light, I think. I have a tray down there, and that's where I have non-poisonous plants that are safe for them to sniff at. But all of the poisonous plants I keep on a high enough shelf, because my dogs aren't this big. They're like small, right? They're like poodle-sized, like small poodle-sized. So they don't go anywhere near them. I'm gonna quickly turn on the light, because it's really dark. Give me a second. Okay, here we go. Oh gosh, now you see the mess. Oh no. So that's Chip right there. He's got little stairs to go up on the bed. But yes, it is a mess. Ignore that. We shall ignore that. But yeah, if you're working with plants and you have pets, I would say get, for example, this is a greenhouse situation that I've got going on here. It comes with a cover, but I've closed, or I took the cover off for now. But you can get something like that. That was 20 euros. And cover them, or you can get like nice glass shelves and things like that that you can cover or close so that your pets don't go near them. Namaste, Ella. Thank you. Blessings to you too. I'm still missing your signature for your book. Sadly, Yanis Rosa gave me the book a little damaged. No way! I'm so sorry. So as for the signature, message me or email me. I think emailing me might be easier because then we can immediately exchange. Like I can send you like a book plate and then you can have a signature in your book that way. So we can do that. Thanks for answering, Ella. Of course. Ich habe Holunderblätter in Olivenöl infused. Das ist großartig gegen Mücken. Oh, okay, so the translation for that. I have infused elderflower leaves in olive oil, and that is really good for a mosquito repellent. That's really helpful because we have so much elderflower everywhere, so I'm going to do that as well. Thank you. I live in the high desert in New Mexico, and we have been having an unnatural amount of mosquitoes this year. I've heard, because we didn't have a good winter either. I've heard this too. I've seen reels and stuff like that where people were talking about ticks specifically, and that obviously in winter the frost is supposed to kill them off, and it didn't. And so there's an unnatural amount right now going around because they just didn't like end their life cycle. Yeah, it's not good. I love horses. Me too. I used to steep elderflower leaves in olive oil for 14 days and used it as a mosquito repellent. I'm gonna try that. I've got this comment here. I'm gonna have to try that. I love that. Ellaharrison repels mosquitoes. I have a tree in my backyard. Yeah, I'm gonna have to try that. Thank you. We don't have elder growing around here. It's all pine trees, juniper, and pinyon trees. That's a great tip, though. Bridge, thanks. It is a great tip. So I think juniper might as well, especially if you make a juniper a bundle, and then you can smoke that, smoke cleanse as well. Because juniper is a really good one for smoke cleansing too. I love it, and it's also sacred to the goddess that I work with, for example. And I'm pretty sure that's also a natural one too. So you could technically make like a candle in a way. So it's not necessarily like a ritualistic cleanse, but it's more so just a bundle that you burn to repel mosquitoes, essentially, right? Um, but sorry, my diploma as I wanted to offer you a website redesign. Oh, okay, thank you. I'm gonna have to check. I've gotten a lot of emails and I am really bad with like checking them unless I specifically know that I'm waiting for an email. I'm really bad with them. So if you want to just resend that or just be like, hello, you know, just so that it goes back up in my inbox, then I can have a look at it. Know what I'm doing now. I've already been bitten like 30 times. Me too, and I'm allergic to those little shits. I have a huge oh, you can't really see it right now. I have one here, and you can't really see it at all, but it's like this large already. I'm trying not to itch it. I'm trying not to touch it because otherwise you just spread the venom, right? I'm allergic to those little shits. The amount of mosquitoes and flies is crazy. It is here too. Flies. Oh my gosh, we have so many flies. Um, how do you think we can make our aura so strong that no negative energies can penetrate? Oh, interesting. So I feel like if you create some sort of energy shield around you, it's very draining. I have a spell in my book as well that is the chameleon protective shield or energetic shield. Um, you're gonna have to take that energy from somewhere, and you don't just have all that energy, you know? So food, for example, or some sort of source, in my opinion, I don't think it's good to constantly that's a mosquito trying to get in. I have the glass here obviously, but we have a mosquito net, so it's trying to get in though. I feel like if you have a aura or like an energy shield around you that is so tough, you kind of shield yourself off from anything else. So I actually don't recommend being overly protected because if you're too protected, nothing else can get through, and that might result in like a lack of communication, for example. Do you have any tips to be better in tarot reading? I have a YouTube video on tarot reading and how I do tarot reading and like my recommendation for that. So if you want to have a look at that video, oh, my bow just untied itself. My dress has like a bow, so that just untied itself. But I think the biggest tip for tarot reading is doing it intuitively and storytelling. I absolutely love the storytelling method, and I do recommend getting the Rider-Waite-Smith deck specifically for that because that way you get to, well, you can do other decks too, but I recommend getting a deck that's very image heavy because then you can basically try and tell a story just by looking at that image. You can be like, okay, what's going on here? And that's how you get your intuition to really come through as well. So that's what I really love doing is that intuitive kind of like storytelling method. Also pulling every day and just learning what comes out of it. I think a good one is to pull it in the morning, remember the card or write it down, and then at the end of the day, reflect on it and be like, did this card come through at all today, you know? Did I see any of the symbols today throughout my day? And how did that show up for me personally? Because I feel like tarot language is going to be different for different people too. So that's what I would suggest. I emailed you on the titles workshops, my diploma work. Okay, I'm gonna have to have a look for that. Thank you. And I will definitely have a look if I can find that email. If not, I definitely suggest just ping me again and just write another one. It's a horse chestnut. Oh, I must have missed a message before. Chestnut oil repels spiders, I heard. Oh, okay, there we go. Horse chestnut. Interesting. Fun fact. I like spiders because they're handy because they eat mosquitoes. So whenever we have a spider, I let the spider be because I'm like, you are good, you're good. Also, I've heard my mom always says this: spiders in the house are a good sign because of that means that your walls are non-toxic because spiders don't like toxic walls. I'm not sure, don't quote me on that. This is not legal advice or anything like that. It's just something I've heard. But yeah, so I leave spiders. I tend to leave them. Maybe not in Australia, but I tend to leave spiders here in little old Europe. I use witch bells on my door and blow cinnamon in the front door on the first of the month for prosperity. I love little magical things we do. I love that too. One thing though, the blowing cinnamon on the front door, don't do that if you have pets, because cinnamon isn't good for your pets. But you can definitely do that or create, for example, a cinnamon oil, like an infused oil, and just like draw like a sigil on your door, for example. But I love that. I love little things like that too. And I have witch bells too. Um, I also have a hagstone just always with me as well. So I feel like things like that you can really easily incorporate too. Smoke, I tried out many different herbs, but rosemary is the only one repelling mozzies. Yeah, yeah. So if you have rosemary either growing or also basil is good, but that's just for general pests. But rosemary is an amazing one for all of that stuff too. I've heard that too. I love the fact that we have such individuals. The exist such as us witches. Definitely. Um, Y'all haven't been having a lot of rain there in us, right? Our nephew lives there. I'm sorry, that was a very, very American because of the y'all. I'm like, I'm not. I have to get into that. I do know that Leah likes to have y'all in her messages, and I do sometimes say that too. But it took me a second to read that. I'm so sorry. But yeah, which oracle cards do you use? I really like the Lenormand oracle deck, which is technically like not it is, but it isn't. And then I know the Woodland Wardens is a beautiful one by Jessica Rue. I don't have it though. I personally don't really work with oracle cards at all. I just like tend to stick to tarot to be honest. But yeah, um, oh my, sorry guys, I got to go. Namaste. It was a great chat catching your stream. Thank you, and all the blessings to you as well. Agree. When I started reading tarot, I bought an antique anatomy deck. Oh, I've heard that one is really beautiful too. It was hard for me when I started, but right away tarot is more understandable because of the illustrations. Yes, it is. I feel like that's a really good one. Or if you want something that's a little bit prettier, there is the Ethereal Visions Illuminated. That might be butchered. That deck is beautiful as well. It's like Art Nouveau, and that's a little bit more storytelling as well. There definitely are other storytelling decks too. The spiders we get here in the Pacific Northwest are terrifying, but I try to leave them when I can. Yeah, I mean, if you so in Australia you've got the huntsman spider, for example. Like, there's a bit big as well because they get massive, right? And it does depend. Like, if we get a massive one here too, which is rare, but sometimes we do get spiders that are like this big, then I'm also like, I put them under a glass and then the paper and I carry them outside. So I try to do that. But little spiders, I leave those, and also the what are they called? Long leg, dandy, daddy. I don't know. The long leg ones with the tiny little body. I leave those too. Thank you so much, Ella. I have 4 decks and 3 of them came with a book. Yeah, I feel like that's a really good one too. It's just reference back. Though I do think intuitive storytelling is going to be a good one for you to get away from the book. Not because you need to get away from the book, but just because you know it comes from like your own intuition rather than the guidebook. That's true about spiders eating mosquitoes. I guess they can be allies. I'm just still scared of them. Yeah, I feel like, with spirit work in general, and I mean, I'm just extrapolating that right now. I think a good amount of fear is a smart thing to have. I think there's a correlation between fear and respect. And if you lose fear for something that is dangerous, you go into the I was gonna say stupid, but like it's not stupid. It's naive, you know. Like if you lose the fear and hence respect for example, poisonous plants, and I just go and touch, and that would be stupid of me. That would be naive, and I would get myself into a dangerous situation. So I feel like it is a good idea to, in general, with witchcraft and spirits and plants and animals too, especially wild animals, is to have a good ounce of fear. I think that's a good piece of general advice. I feel like, don't lose that. Um, I love my oracle deck from Jessica Rue. Yes, I feel like it's a beautiful one. I feel like I just have so many tarot decks already, and I'm just like, any chance a very significant increase in buttercup flowers in my yard is a sign of the fae? I only notice them after reading about the fae. Oh, interesting. So I don't really know much about the fae, to be very honest with you. I tend to work more closely with like local spirits and land spirits, which in some context you could say it's adjacent to the fae. It could be. I feel like something like that, you might want to have a look for more signs. So, for example, I always say if there's three occurrences that are peculiar or that stand out to me, then I think it's a sign, and then I think I would look into that further. Definitely just do like a tarot reading, a meditation, or just have a look for and really be like, hi, are there any signs that are clear that I'm able to understand? And see what comes out of it. I personally use rowan berries and bells above my door to ward unwanted spirits and ring in a higher energy. Yeah, something like that. I have rowan as well, like a branch I had, and then also the bells I always had too. I have the Ethereal Visions Tarot and Oracle deck. They're absolutely gorgeous. They are so stunning. They're probably one of the prettiest decks that I have too. But yeah, Daddy Longlegs. That, thank you. Such a weird, funny name. But yes, those spiders. They're kind of cute though. Is there a specific way you do sigils? Um, don't mind my fiance just like walking in here. Is there a specific way to use sigils? I do usually tend to do that circle with the A, B, C, D, E, you know, that one. Don't mind him. Hello, Chip. So I tend to do that. That's in my book as well. So if you want to have a look, I give instructions on how you can do that. But that's my favorite way of doing sigils, just because I feel like that's the easiest. So yeah. Let me see. I'm probably gonna answer like one more question because it's about to be an hour, and then I'm gonna go say bye. Hi, Carlos. Leah saying hi. Hi, Leah. um, but yeah. So let me see. There's a season, any long leg, but they are a full Sudia archetype. Yes, I don't know spider types. So, I have to go. I'm going up at 3:30 tomorrow. Have a great evening. Thank you. You too. I'm about to wrap up as well. I think respect is a better word instead of fear. Fear is stopping you in the track and makes you freeze, but respect is like keeping aware and alert in a natural distance. Yeah, I feel like okay. So I do think okay. I feel like this is a very intriguing topic because I think it's one of those personal definitions. Because for me, having a little bit of fear isn't a negative thing. However, if you associate fear, for example, with stopping in your tracks or making you freeze, then I definitely think that for you, for example, the word respect is definitely the more appropriate one. I think for me, having a little bit of fear, it doesn't stop me in my tracks. So I think for me, I would still remain using that word, but I think it's one of those like semantics. But I agree with you in that I think you need to have that respect for sure and stay alert and not be stopped in your tracks, but continue pursuing. Just stay, you know, on alert, basically, right? I got one deck handmade on Etsy. That's amazing. I did not know that they did that, but that sounds really cool. I'm so very glad I caught a live session with you. Thank you for your time and guidance. Bless you, beautiful. Thank you. I hope you have a wonderful night or evening or day as well. And thank you for joining. Um, will you do live streams more often? It came in about 30 minutes late, so I'm sorry if you already answered this. No, I didn't answer this before. I do want to do more live streams. I think they're so fun. But it's just one of those situations where I always just forget that they exist. And I'm like, I should do a live stream. So I definitely want to do them more often. I also want to see because this is new to me, this entire studio. So you can't see it from your end, obviously, unless you have a YouTube channel as well and you do live streams. It's a different it looks different than your regular uploading, and there's a lot going on. So I have like all these configurations and settings, and so I want to see what I can do with the live streams. Like if I can do collaborative ones, for example, that would be really cool. But yes, I definitely want to do more live streams. So yeah. Thank you for all your answers. Must be looking forward to the next stream. Thank you. So I think I'm probably going to wrap it up now. First of all, Leah, thank you very much for moderating. I really appreciate it. And thank you everyone for joining. I hope you are going to have a wonderful day and a wonderful week ahead. And then if you have any other questions, you can always pop them in here because I will be going through the comments as well, of course, because this video is going to be saved. And then if you have any other questions, you can obviously just always leave them on my YouTube or Instagram as well. And then if you would like to support this channel, I do have a Patreon where we do monthly workshops on the highest tier. And then you can also message me over there and just, it's like a little community. So if you are seeking that, then I recommend joining my Patreon. So yeah, and of course that is, the best way to support probably most content creators, but definitely me in my case as well. So thank you. And then I'm probably gonna go say bye-bye now. It's really late already here, so I'm gonna have a cookie. They're called American cookies, which I think for Americans probably is quite funny. They're just regular chocolate chip cookies, but they're called American cookies. And they've got the American flag on them and everything. So I'm gonna have some of those and read my book. But yes, thank you everyone, and I hope you have a wonderful night or day, and may you go with your gods. Bye.